of course, one where we usually stick to trends here when it comes to the bans, but I've already seen some interesting ones. It's important to note that this is a new season, which means that we have a new operator unlocked for play as well. That is going to potentially change the meta. We already saw her, Aruni, that is, get used a little bit in the previous matchup, specifically by Super, so I'm sure we'll potentially see her pop up again before the day is done. First ban, though, is going to be Thatcher following usual trends.
Yeah, not a big shocker on that one, but we're going to have an unusual one come into play here. Beast Coast going to ban away Buck. Actually, kind of a big shocker. We haven't seen Buck get banned out in quite some time. We used to see him kind of get spot banned on Clubhouse, but it's mostly for that vertical play, just trying to prevent anyone from removing those floorboards, more than likely in like the AVG area. Mira going to follow that up for Beast Coast, though.
And that'll take us to our final ban, the last one from TSM as well. Here, they are going to go for a ban toward We, even after the changes to Jaeger, have still seen him, along with Wamai, be a bit of a dynamic duo for defensive setups, and oftentimes it's a little bit too annoying to deal with. So very commonly, we'll see Wamai banned out as a priority there over Jaeger, just because his utility can be limited based on time if you have enough kind of shock value to add to your execute there, and you don't have to worry as much about the ADSs if you're handling them properly. That'll take us into our first round. It's going to be an AVG defense for stuff here from TSM.
Exciting stuff, but, you know, nothing out of the ordinary that we wouldn't expect from anybody here playing Villa. We're already going to have a 6-pick come in off of the Oryx, but probably expected by a lot of you at home. Kaid going to come into play here for TSM. Really like this adjustment. Recently been trying to get more into like YouTube content and that kind of stuff, and watching a lot of what people have been producing. And I watched one of Pengu's videos about the tiers in which he put operators at, and he had a really good point about Kaid that I just thought was really good overall. And it's the fact of how far Bandit has fallen down the line of preventable operators, and how Kaid has really just taken it by storm. You either play Kaid or mute. Bandit, you really never see him nowadays, just because Bandit tricking is so unbelievably risky, and a lot of the times it never pays off.
Yeah, I mean, we've, in the past couple of months, I can only think of 1 to 2 times where a Bandit trick has actually been successful, compared to if we go back like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and you're seeing them literally almost every single round where it can viably be used, you know? So pretty massive shift there, just because of the way that things have changed up a little bit. It's become a lot harder to do bandit tricking. And on top of that, Kaid can kind of be a little bit more of a convenient sort of use for that piece of utility, just because obviously he can chuck his, so he doesn't have to be next to the physical wall in order to throw them. So it's a little bit less risk than some bandit tricking would be.
Yeah, as well as he gets multiple walls all at once, so why wouldn't you want to bring him in the first place, right? Like, especially with how prominent Ace is nowadays. If you're able to get rid of multiple Selmas all at once, why wouldn't you want to do that? Well, now we're about 30 seconds into the action phase here. We already got our first kill. Ghost getting very aggressive downstairs. Takes down Achieved inside a red hall. Anthony with the drone to cover as well.
First pick from Beast Coast, so far untraded by TSM, and looks like it's going to remain that way for the foreseeable future. No one else on TSM close by to try and assist their now fallen teammate in the form of Achieve. They do have a player at mid red stairs right now in the general area of operation, but like I said, not really able to translate that position into anything at this point in time, so it will become a waiting game for Bolo and the rest of TSM to try to equalize things. The rest of the pressure for the time being is coming in from Beast Coast towards the main stairs. You can see some frag work being done just over on the mid-level of the stairs. Sussing out Merc just slightly, but definitely not enough pressure to force him out of position as of yet. He'll still maintain, waiting, probably for either drone intel or a player push to force him back. Normally, it's okay for the player on this staircase to take a 1-for-1, but it seems TSM are going to go for the safe option, instead choosing to fall back after chucking down a gas grenade too. 2 and 3 are found, however, by Beast Coast just as they get themselves to the top of that staircase, as Chala and one more member of TSM get dropped. Things not looking good here for the defenders in the first round.
2v5 now for TSM, but Merc starts things off well from 90. Takes contact onto Sippin. Ends up getting that frag. Geo to hold things down inside of sight as Merc will adjust his way over to the top of red. But the rest of Beast Coast actually being held back right now. Haven't advanced in towards sight, and they have plenty of time to try and figure out this situation anyways. But Merc might have an opportunity here for another frag. Doesn't come through though. Beast Coast playing this one close to the chest. Don't want to try and give this up from study, but getting very risky with these peaks now. Merc with the prone, not able to work it out. Fozo with the initial frag, but Ghost swings through for the triple for him. Round 1 goes to Beast Coast.
Merc trying to get a little sneaky towards the end there with an early re-entry to try to catch the members of Beast Coast off guard. Sadly, does not work And coming off of the great entry work so far, unchallenged really by the members of TSM on the defense, Beast Coast easily worked their way through round number 1 here and put themselves up on the board at 1-0 with only really 1 to 2 trades going against them. Great solid work on taking control of AVG. And the best part is they're going to get a second run at it here as TSM's going right back towards it.
Yeah, some really solid stuff from Beast Coast early on. They immediately injected into the building, got that frag super early onto achieved, and I think it was simply because TSM were not prepared for Beast Coast to already be working the basement there. It's just element of surprise and worked out in Beast Coast's favor. They're able to transition that into a beautiful main stairs take. I wish we would have seen where that second kill came from, but that frag from Ghost on Achala, textbook when it comes to things. So Beast Coast already up 1 round, and they're looking to take down Aviator Games again. Not too many change-ups here. We are going to have achieved... Actually, no, cancel that. Just changed, actually, 0 in the lineup, all except for the Kaid. We're going to have switched out. Geometrics doesn't want to protect the walls anymore. Instead, wants to bring those Evil Eyes with Maestro.
Came down to a lot more of the early round deciding that anyway, so overall, a pretty good change in my opinion, seeing as we didn't see so much hard breach get used. Doesn't mean it won't have been useful potentially in this round, though, if things get slowed down a little bit. But generally speaking, looking at the attacker lineup, there's a pretty small amount of hard breach anyway, so it might have been a bit excessive to try and bring that in for the second round. Either way, we've got Beast Coast working their way out onto the board yet again. Let's see if they take a similar flair to their opening attack strategy, or if they'll try to take a different path this time around.
Well, no downstairs roam for TSM this time. Instead, going to be centralizing around the main staircases like we'd assume, and have Bolo on an extended hold over towards Master. But as we saw from Beast Coast prior, wasn't exactly their game plan to try and hit the site from that area in the first place. Instead, they're going to break up Library, as well as just the downstairs area in general around Piano and below AVG. So now Beast Coast with some pretty good map control down low. This is going to make it difficult for TSM to have a late rotation come through. This is more than likely just going to be utility exchange, and Beast Coast just trying to force this staircase.
Potential ace frag attempt here from Anthony, trying to throw that out. Not going to sink where they needed to, unfortunately. Just will give them a nice hole through the ceiling to see to the inside of Gun Vaults. Possibly some delayed info coming out there in order to assist with them. Good fun from Sippin right here. Snipes out one of the Evil Eyes from down below via a breaching charge. So good piece of utility being taken care of. Merc, actually great job dodging the majority of that frag grenade damage by getting behind the deployable shield. Unfortunately, unable to escape just in time to avoid Ghost. So he will pick up the trade there, bringing us down to a 4v3 advantage to TSM.
Oh, solid stuff from TSM. The jig is up. We've now figured out why the exchange came through for the operator. Impacts from Geo to keep the wall shut inside a study. This makes it even more difficult for Beast Coast now. Yes, they might have some singular breaches into the actual site, but what's it worth if you're not able to actually contest them? Bozo, I'm going to attempt to grab an angle here. This ARX absolutely rips as well. Might have a freebie, and he does. Chala, overstaying his welcome inside a bar, gets taken down. All of a sudden equalizes for Beast Coast with a minute remaining. TSM still with very strong positioning as well as good utility on the back end to secure this round. It's really up to Beast Coast to try and force their will onto this site now. Still have some drones available to try and find some extra intel, but it's achieved to strike first as he takes down Rudy.
Great adjustments within this round from TSM here. Realized that Beast Coast was going to try to play an aggressive game and try to look for the members of TSM making mistakes, over peaking, potentially being slightly exposed to an angle they weren't. And so far, they've excelled in trying to stop that. But here's the problem. The frags are still rolling through, and Fozo is going to be able to get a 1v2 clutch, seemingly out of nowhere there, as Beast Coast steal the second round out of the hands of TSM.
Beast Coast looking so strong right now on this offense. Playing it so extremely well, especially with their control downstairs. Not necessarily a round we thought they would have won with how TSM led that off. Really nice double kill there by Merc, but wasn't suspecting Ghost lying in wait to capitalize on that situation. Now, Beast Coast, granted an opportunity to try and clutch in that 3 versus 4, play it really, really slow. They work their way around the study area after Achieve gets that nice frag, and eventually able to take things through onto the actual bar area after they frag out Chala. That was the big piece for Beast Coast to have an opportunity to get into sight. The Malusi Banshees weren't too big of a deal for them at that point. Able to get rid of that smoke that not only would have brought that shotgun, but those toxic babes would have been super annoying to try and push through.
It's a bit of a top-heavy game right now on Beast Coast side. If you look at the frags right now, with Bozo having 6 kills and no deaths, Ghost having 4 kills, and no one else on the team having any kills. So a little bit of a weird scoreline right now, but Beast Coast are making it work by slowly picking off the members of TSM one by one, draining those numbers down, at least in the last round. Having some great clutch potential come out there from Ghost as well. The question for me at this point is how long can that keep up? Because as I said, it is relatively top heavy. So we'll have to see if TSM is going to be able to find a counter to this by either taking out those power players earlier on or by stopping the momentum in its tracks entirely, as it seemed like they were getting closer to doing on the previous round, but faltered in the late round.
Exactly. It was so very close. I honestly thought TSM had it as well. But again, John, look at this. Beast Coast works the map so fast, in fact, that they're killing their own teammates. They're already planting. This is Beast Coast. They're doing is exactly the logo is of this org. They are crashing on TSM, forcing this site back. TSM doesn't have a chance to try and slow them down. The utility isn't in place yet, and now TSM have to try and fight back. Frag from Merc, but Geo gets downed inside a site. Ghost still playing inside of Laundry, has a beautiful cross here, but they might see the barrel of his gun sticking out of Laundry. He gets aggressive at the right time, takes down Achieve. They'll revive Geo though, down to a 2 versus 2, but great post-plant positioning from both of them. Rudy takes down one. Merc has to get aggressive on a singular angle here. He's able to get the fry on Ghost, but is the cook actually in the kitchen? That's the real question. No, he's not. Rudy with the AK-12 takes him down from outside. And Beast Coast is looking more like Best Coast.
Right idea from the clutch player on TSM, just not the aim to close it out, as Stokes was mentioning. Beast Coast absolutely shutting it down. New year, a new meta, it seems, as well, at least for that round, as Beast Coast quite literally rushed their way in through Laundry and I believe the pantry door. That 2-push combination completely overwhelms the site and leaves absolutely zero room for TSM to do anything about it. Now, it's unlikely we're going to see that strategy again anytime soon, but it's worked its effect brilliantly as Beast Coast has suddenly stolen another round simply over the course of 1 to 2 minutes in what's normally a 4-minute round in Siege there. So really good stuff from them to not only, have the thought pattern to actually make that kind of a play, but to have it work so well as well. Great stuff from Beast Coast so far in this match. Really impressing me against TSM.
I mean, why would you have to worry about utility if you just go around it?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we had the Aruni get picked there. I was about to talk about the gates and how that was going to change up that round. It was like, nope. They're rushing the site. Okay.
Actually crazy. We actually haven't, I don't think I've ever seen personally a team that just literally flooded pantry, and that's actually such a good idea for kitchen because of that exact fact. If you're able to get enough people in and you get the 2 site players dead, you remove whatever's holding the single panel wall for pantry shut, you Selma it open and he just holds the cross and you flood into dining. That's actually crazy. Such a good play there by Beast Coast. But hey, now TSM to answer. We've went around the site triangle. We're back to AVG here, folks. 3 rounds so far for Beast Coast on offense. TSM has an opportunity, though, to make sure that this does not go unchecked, and they try and bring this back with 3 perfect rounds in a row to try and salvage this defense.
Let's see if TSM can make it happen. We have the extended roam game deployed to a pretty big extent within this round here. You can see Achieved kind of off on his lonesome here. This was the problem back in round number 1, was this player, I think it was Achieved as well, got picked way off on an island with no way for anyone on the team to be able to trade that back. And that was kind of the beginning of the very slow downfall that would trickle in throughout the rest of the round there for TSM. They can make up for that now, or they're going to be able to potentially deploy themselves a little bit better here. I've seen them do this a few times now where they have this delayed breaching charge to get themselves out into that red hallway. So I want to pay more attention to see how that potentially plays in later on here, as they still have to try and find that Achieved, who is very, very close to the 3-man team from Beast Coast, currently clearing the main stairs. And if they don't realize he's here soon, well, he's going to jump into this. And there you go. He'll start to frag out. First one picked up by him. Merc jumps in from the stairs. He gets 2 for himself. Number 3 is a good possibility here, too, as there's still another player at the main door, as well as the study door upstairs.
This is the strongest round we've seen from TSM so far, but oh no, Fozo! And he gets caught up, and Merc finds the triple kill. 5 versus 1 right now, a clutch opportunity for Rudy, but I don't think he's going to get too far, and he won't. Geo takes him down. Flawless round for TSM's first defensive round win, and what a way to set pace from Merc there. My God.
Yeah, a very much needed win from TSM2. Things were starting to worry me a little bit there that we might end up with a bit of a Beast Coast, kind of run over in this matchup with TSM not being able to get much going for themselves. Seems like that's not the case, though. TSM finally get a lock on how to handle this early Beast Coast aggression, especially over towards the main stairs there with the lurk from Achieved, and shut it down quite handily after executing upon those players. Now it's time for Beast Coast to respond, bring us something a little different maybe, as we've got another upstairs site defense coming up here as we head to the other side of the building for trophy and statuary.
Well, it seems as though TSM has finally found the answer to Beast Coast. So, the ball now in Beast Coast court. What do? Well, it seems to be a double down of sorts. We're going to get rid of Ace. We're going to go away from some hard destruction onto the statue trophy site, which is one that we usually, like 99.9% of the time, see hard destruction, and go to Lion, which is somebody that we don't talk about a lot unless we're playing Coastline, but he's here now. So for this lineup, this is just overall extremely annoying, but the thing is that they don't have hard breach to make new lines of sight. That's going to be the big problem here for Beast Coast, so I'm assuming that this is once again going to be some sort of a flood/rush strat.
5 seconds remaining.
Let's find out if that'll be the case here as we do have the line in play. The Diffuser in hand as well here, so let's take a look at the opening route for Beast Coast as TSM sets themselves up in a very much expected way to defend the trophy and statuary sites. Nothing really incredible happening on their side for their setup here, but take a look and see if Beast Coast is going to show us anything different once again, as we've got 3 players potentially on the connector window here that will more than likely, I would imagine anyway, deteriorate away from this point, and we'll see them execute differently, and this is just for their drones, but after that round in Kitchen before, I'm not holding any judgments, especially now that we got 2 players maybe ready to hop in, and there we go. Sippen's gonna take early control. Chala will immediately shut this down, though, as he has the position for the cross. Anthony goes down. Another player eliminated as well. Rudy dropped to the floor. Fozo also taken out at the very same window. The entire strategy crumbles in their hands, and Ghost now sits as the only player left standing.
Well, I think the jig is up. I think TSM knows what Beast Coast's entire plan is now, at least for these last 2 rounds. So I don't think that Ghost is going to be going for anything too crazy here. Just might look for some exit frags, but more than likely a discussion time to figure out what they're going to try and do for this last round and make sure that TSM cannot equalize before they get to offense. But Beast Coast attempting these rush strats that just aren't working out anymore. TSM not making too big of an adjustment, honestly, just punishing them off of their angles. That's the beauty of LAN, is that Peeker's advantage doesn't work out as well for the aggressor. Just like we saw right there, Chala able to hold the angle right off of the B bomb chassis. Excuse me. It takes down 2 right off rip, and they're going to continue to have those problems if they don't have the intel to capitalize off of first and they're going in blind.
So a relatively easy round from TSM's perspective here as they catch the strategy early and shut it down before it turns into much. TSM now just kind of biding their time, as Beast Coast is more than likely doing the same here. This is a strategy that I've seen used in multiple games where you essentially run out of time, and instead of just throwing the last player at the remaining 4 for TSM and throwing away the 2 to 3 minutes that was still left on the clock at that point, let's actually use at least a minute or 2 of this. Let's talk about some stuff. Let's figure out what exactly went wrong there and break it down while Ghost is not under any immediate threat. Then he can throw himself at the enemy, try his best with this remaining 45 seconds. He'll more than likely lose. If he doesn't, hey, great. But ultimately, it's much better served to get that conversation done now than trying to squeeze it in the 30 to 40 seconds in between the rounds.
Yeah, as well as, you don't have to use your timeout, which that's also pretty cool. So able to, keep one of those. This is more of like a tactical timeout if you wanted to think about it that way. But hey, what do you know? Chala from downrange with a beautiful cross towards bathroom takes down Ghost. And finally, our round 5 comes to a close. TSM bringing it back inside of these last 2 rounds, and they're looking damn good, man. These defenses coming together, finally shutting down Beast Coast on these rushes. I feel like TSM, honestly, just trying to feel out Beast Coast at the moment. This is a fresh squad. These 2 have never went against each other before. TSM more than likely, not exactly playing with their food or anything like that, you know what I mean? But more or less just seeing what Beast Coast are about. They want to understand this team more and just see what they can possibly get out of them. We're going to have another adjustment here from Beast Coast, though. Rudy going away from the Lion, more than likely a good choice since we are going to Dining Kitchen, and last time Ace worked out so well inside a pantry.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your point about TSM kind of using, especially these first few rounds, as adjustment point to see how exactly Beast Coast was going to play, because we can see that just from like the theoretical way that TSM was handling their rounds. Bit of an extended roam on round number 1, pulled that back for round number 2 because they lost players, too much in the early round, and then they had issues with the late round. Now adjusted that going into the future rounds. Obviously, round number 3 threw them off a little bit, but things started to solidify as we got to rounds 4 and 5, as we're starting to see here now for TSM. Just a very, very slow process of piecing apart the attacking strategy from Beast Coast. They've done a pretty good job of doing it, but that's not to say Beast Coast hasn't made an impact. 3 rounds of attack is nothing to scoff at, and TSM will still potentially have to deal with and have, even if they come back and take this 3rd round.
Exactly. It's nothing to scoff at all. And the thing is that it's literally just a difference in strategy. That's really it. Like TSM is setting up all of this upstairs to try and put Beast Coast into a bad spot if they want vertical control, but Beast Coast are simply opting out of it. They're not taking it. They'd much rather just hit the site and try and get a plant down, and that's why that continually worked, is because TSM are still setting up all of these things. That's the traditional thing in Siege. You go for the map clear. Beast Coast are going about it, and not a improper way, just a newer way rather than teams traditionally do it, with a lot of these rush strategies actually working out early inside of their offensive rounds.
So looking like much more of a traditional upstairs clear here coming in, at least off of the initial stack from Beast Coast. We'll see if anything crazy gets changed up here as we get into the later points of the round, but there's the entry into the walk-in. They're going to very quickly start to work on the reconstruction projects up here too, but not before taking quite a bit of right there as he's pushed to sub 25 by the player holding on the inside of Astro, more than likely being Merc here, and he's ready to go for another one, has the angle for it. No luck this time on trying to find some winners on the damage, so we're going to continue to see that timer tick down with no success on finding the opening frag for either side.
Sensor activated.
Well, after what we've seen in these prior rounds, this is quite the slow mover. But Beast Coast still have plenty of opportunities to clear out this top floor. Utilities looking strong, still good on the drones, but now in trouble as Merc cleans up one with a Nitro, but Bolo actually shot first, taking down Ghost. Beast Coast all of a sudden in a predicament. Anthony, though, finally getting a refrags. Merc's taken down inside of Astronomy. That's top control gifted over to Beast Coast now. Just need to simply get these air jabs down and start working that flooring. These picks need to come in a bold fashion, but it's not happening. Bolo with yet another Nitro cell for TSM, able to bag the sledge upstairs.
That's both of the Nitro cells now gone for the defense now. You can see that at the top right, by the way, folks, if you haven't seen our new UI. I know Parker and Kicks talked about it earlier. We now have overall utility counts for each team, which is very nice. So we can see that while there was 2 Nitro cells originally, they've all been used now. Good find here from Fozo, if he can finalize it. There we go. Had to use the sidearm for it, but that's all good, as finally another kill's picked up for this roster here. Now, don't count Beast Coast out in this situation just yet either, because Beast Coast actually have had quite a bit of success, specifically from Fozo's POV, of just going for these really slow lurks into the site and trying to basically posture for 1v1 aim duels as they work their way in. Look, they've got a plan angle. Fozo's in position, a good one too, and shut down Chala. This round is still very, very winnable for Beast Coast here.
Not Fozo in the laundry spot, the washing machine. Can he possibly put him through the spin cycle? That's the real question. No, he actually gets sunk himself. Rudy gets one, though. Sells a chance to clutch up, and the AK-12 just too nasty to deal with. Achieved. Tries to go for the quick pit, some intel. Doesn't work out for him. Beast Coast with yet another clutch coming through on their offensive half. Great stuff from them.
And with very little map control, in my opinion, as well, going up to that point, had definitely some room to work with upstairs, and that was probably what restricted the TSM members the most going into that late round position where they would have had to try to stop the plant, but seemed like they still had great control up until those last few moments where we saw Fozo and Rudy sneak in through laundry, and eventually, after picking up a kill, be able to find the room they needed to sneak the diffuser plant in as well there. Just barely giving them what they needed to set up for a post plant, and then win it out confidently in the 2v2 there at the end. So great stuff. I think it was 2v3, actually. 2v3 at the end. So great stuff from them. Once again, really, really impressive play from Beast Coast for that first time of me seeing them at least play the attacking side on Villa. Now it's time for TSM to see if they can bounce back, as they need 5 rounds out of 6 on this side in order to close it out in regulation.
It's so impressive how Beast Coast just doesn't slow down no matter what the situation is. The only time that we saw them get their foot off of the gas was when Ghost was inside of that 1v5. That was it. Otherwise, Beast Coast are constantly moving around the map, using utility to clear areas, forcing TSM back in spaces, trying to make plays. It's really, really well done from Beast Coast overall. Again, those rush strats not working out the greatest, but when it came down to those rounds that Beast Coast truly had an opportunity, they ran away with it and were able to take every single chance they got and convert it into a round win. And that's the biggest thing to take away from Beast Coast right now, especially since we've actually seen TSM adjust, right? Like those earlier rounds, TSM were, as we were talking about, kind of feeling out Beast Coast, seeing what they wanted to do with the offense. But then in came the adjustments. TSM able to get 2 rounds off of Beast Coast, continuing to try and force the rush. But as soon as Beast Coast goes away from that, they're able to claim yet another. I think that this squad's looking extremely strong right now, granted what we saw here on this offense in Villa.
Time to see what they can offer us for the defensive half, though, as we are already well into the first round of the second half here. TSM still working on getting their very, very initial bits of control, and see, unfortunately, we're going to have one of those Yana drones get caught out by the Soraya gate as she tries to swing it through over to the top of the stairs. So got a quick preview of what was sitting there, and actually probably didn't get to see the player on main stairs, but the drones have almost certainly spotted that out by this point, so they still have a good idea of what's sitting in the wings if they're not too careful about their approach towards this position.
Well, TSM attempted to be surgical with this. Finding some good intel over towards the main stairs, but this is more than likely already known from the Goyo shield being here. But now Rudy with a lot of pressure from the staircase. Bolo with a pre-fire as he forces his way up main as well, takes him down, and all of a sudden TSM with some strong map control early into the round here. Beast Coast has to try and find something in return.
Anthony still trying to see if he can maybe scavenge a frag or two outside of the study doorway, catching a rotate from TSM, but nothing to be found there this late in the round, it seems. The majority of players already moving their way, and that is, of course, until just now, and Anthony does, in fact, get himself a potential exchange from the inside. We'll follow up more on that later, though, as other players from Beast Coast are starting to rotate back from their extended and/or roam positions to really bunker in on this site with the remaining 4 that they have. It's going to pay off as well. Ghost returning nets them their first trade as he's going to be able to take down Bolo, but many, many more players from TSM sit right at the gates to this site, ready to breach over the next few moments.
And this is getting so risky for TSM. The utility is so strong on Beast Coast, and they have so many angles to worry about. TSM continues to fall victim every single time they peek. Already 2 TSM members down when they were inside of a 5 versus 4. Adjustments now for TSM. Finally able to take down the 90 player and have some strong positioning over towards red. Chala has an opportunity to take down one more in sight, but he has no intel on Anthony's positioning. Not going to have an opportunity there, but we're going to have some major problems over inside of bar since Ghost still has so much utility. Chala's been downed inside of bust as well. Achieved has to make a mad dash for him. He goes for the pickup, but is there any chance for him to try and shut them all down right now? Anthony gets one, another one on the map table. Anthony desperately needs help from his teammate. Ghost, where are you at? Geo actually gets down from the smoke. The Hail Mary Toxic Babe saves Beast Coast round as they claim their first one on defense.
I was looking close for a minute there, too. Anthony, unfortunately, pushed into a corner. Couldn't really do much, as we saw. Primary runs out of ammo really quickly there with the Roni, and then his sidearm obviously isn't doing much to force the player at doorway back, on top of the fact that he can't fully swing to stop the plant, because that would mean the player at door immediately kills him. So as a result of that, have to rely on the teammate assistance. Thankfully, that last-second smoke grenade comes in to clutch things out and interrupt the plant post-zero timer, meaning that by default, the defenders will end up winning that round. Beast Coast keeping the train rolling here, 3 rounds ahead of the current U.S. Division champions for last year anyway, and only 2 more rounds away themselves from closing it out here.
I really like what Beast Coast is doing with their defenses. Did you see just the amount of angles that they have open for their anchor players?
Yeah.
It's actually crazy. It's
very mobile, too. Like Anthony's position specifically. That dude was peeking from like 3 or 4 different angles every time he tried to take a swing at study.
Yeah, he's got, not only does he have the angles through the floor down to like a piano door into art studio, but he's also got the main door into the actual study. They have that entire wall breached open at the bottom so he can peek off of the single panel inside of planes. And he's also dealing with the top of red all at the same time. Like that positioning right there from Anthony, or his position, excuse me, is more than likely the most important one on that site. He is doing so much there to hold back TSM, and it was just textbook from him overall. But great job from Beast Coast, and looks like we're finally coming to the end possibly of these mouse issues, just getting some things sorted out, folks, and then we'll be right back into this one.
Was apparently a tactical timeout called by TSM as well, so that will shift us back into our technical time, and I think after the time allotted for that closes, as there was a complaint, as Stokes was mentioning, from someone on Beast Coast about a mouse issue, so just working on fixing that really quickly, and then we should be good to resume the match. If you are just joining us, we welcome you, folks, especially if you're just watching Siege for the first time. Welcome to our little community here. We are in the midst of the North American League. This is our second match of the season, which got started today. And you're watching Beast Coast versus TSM. It's a best of one. Beast Coast is currently up 5-2 on Villa.
So, TSM, lots of problems so far up against Beast Coast. These offenses, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt, obviously. If you walk into some place that is set up like that, it's always going to be difficult because you need so much intel on what is going on before stepping foot in that building. And that's really what cost TSM, is just the amount of angles Beast Coast had set up, and that they were not only set up, but they were also manning routinely. It just ended up catching them off guard because, you know, you cross one thing once or twice and you're like, oh, okay, that guy's just not playing that. You cross it the third time, he's there from like across, you know, wherever else he was playing, things like that. But anyways, I think that TSM, at least on this offense, I feel like they can make some adjustments here and handle Beast Coast's play style. I just really want to see what it's going to be. I mean, they've had answers for a lot of teams in the past, and I don't think that this is going to be any different, but I just want to see if Beast Coast tries to, you know, stay ahead of TSM on these defenses and continues to adjust to really keep TSM guessing.
All right, well, Beast Coast is ready to go, so we should be pretty much ready to rock as soon as TSM gives us the all clear as well. Bouncing off the topic that Stokes was just talking about right there, I didn't get to pay attention too much to it in the first round here for TSM's attack, but I am very curious to see if the drone presence from TSM is being restricted quite heavily, as it seems like that could have been a pretty major contributing factor in how they were unable to really control the Beast Coast members, and especially the more aggressive tendencies, because they may have not had perfect info on where those players were playing from as they tried to actually push for their executes. Anthony comes to mind specifically on that one, as he was able to deny Yana info quite a few times, obviously due to the Soraya gates being placed in quite a few key doorways, and unfortunately Merc just having to run the Yana drone right through those most of the time in order to at least get rid of them so they could use so they could be able to use the door and also get their utility through it if necessary.
Attackers need to locate.
Absolutely, sir. And guess what? We actually just broke 100,000 viewers on the Twitch page actively, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully you guys are all doing well at home. I know COVID hasn't exactly been fun. Everyone's been stuck inside. All here now. We got a pretty good game in front of us. Beast Coast surprising a lot of people right now. Up 5-2 against TSM. TSM, a long history of success, especially inside of 2020. 2021, not starting off so hot so far. Beast Coast now adjusting across over to Statue, and they're going to actually set things up downstairs to try and prevent any sort of clear from TSM early on.
All right, guys, the upstairs hold, as you were seeing a couple seconds ago, we still have a little bit of setup going downstairs, and that is just because of the fact that there is more than likely going to be a clear attempt from TSM downstairs in that part of the map over towards kitchen, and it helps to have a few of those angles set up in the event that Beast Coast does want to play into the roam game. And with the lead they have, I would be surprised if they didn't, especially considering their more aggressive tendencies that we tended to see back in the first half. They're going to try to play anything like that here in defense. More than likely going to see them try to utilize that. We can already see it. A couple players branching out right now, trying to put themselves specifically over in this part of the map, the AVG center of the map, at least the first floor portion of that over by piano here, so that they can try to counter out the early clears from TSM, which are starting to work their way in right now. You can see Merc having gone into the second floor, clearing out aviation as well as study directly behind him, and his teammates will follow suit to clear out the room next to it and that 90-degree hallway to the top left of Merc.
Well, Merc not all alone here, as you can see. Bolo currently inside of 90, backed up by Chala. holding down the main stairs, but Beast Coast want to stick around and trying to waste as much time as possible here. Sipping with yet another nitro cell going off inside of Plains. All of TSM currently centralized around over here. Merc, what beautiful mechanics, my friend. Takes down Sippin after the frag grenade throw as well. Able to get a beautiful re-peek down low and gets that lead-off frag TSM needed so desperately, especially this early on. That is practically a dagger to the heart for Beast Coast as they're forced back towards site. They still have a lot of variable play going on, though, as still some Beast Coast members are a brew downstairs. Particularly Fozo, but no nitro cell for him any longer.
Time continuing to tick down here, and Beast Coast still holding on strong despite losing Sippin in the early fight there. They have not given anyone else up yet, and it seems like most of their aggressive posturing has all but died going into this last minute of the round, focusing entirely on the bunker setup and stopping TSM's execute, which they're getting ready to work towards right now. A lot of players building up in the site connectors as well as towards Master, now working themselves in behind the breach they just opened up with their ace there. Geometric's getting that job done. Another great frag grenade going right into Rudy's face. Doesn't end up killing him outright, but does take him into a down state here where he's unlikely to get revived. Chala with the next one to potentially bring the members of Beast Coast down to just 2 here. Rudy is going to be unable to be retrieved. Ghost tries to make an aggressive push, and he too will get cut off along with the last remaining teammate, giving TSM a perfect round here on round number 8.
And this is where things get dangerous for Beast Coast. Flawless round from TSM, like you were saying, and it was just so very well done overall. Strong clear from the study side, able to clear out all the utility necessary and confirm 2 frags in the process. Some really strong stuff from TSM. And I mean, really for Beast Coast, what is the answer to that? They really didn't have too poor of positioning. Decision making wasn't too bad or anything of those, things. They just simply lost their ones early on, especially with that one early on with Merc. There's a chance in between that moment, whether you push up to try to take that gunfight or you fall back towards site, and Merc just a little bit better in that situation. He just put Valk in a pretty bad state anyways with that frag grenade flying over his head. It's kind of a do or die situation for him, but nevertheless, TSM are able to translate that so well simply because of how they work the map alongside that utility, especially over inside of the trophy area.
East Coast slowly losing a grip over the current situation, but not to a massive extent just yet. Still some time for them to be able to turn the tables before TSM potentially comes back entirely and tries to take the lead away from Beast Coast here. So once again, going to be setting up on the inside of Trophy and Statuary. We'll see, of course, how the early round strats are going to differ, if they'll try to pull back more or extend even further, looking to try and get those early kills against TSM. We're just focusing on the late round as we saw things fall apart for them in the 4v5. TSM are out and about, and it seems like they're pretty heavily inclined to push their way in directly either into Master or the first floor kitchen / mudroom area directly below the 2 sites currently in play. Beast Coast are going to have to respond to that in kind by sending their Jaeger down to the basement to roam, in addition to keeping Sippin here in the kitchen connector, going back towards the Astro stairs.
Well, you can see how this earlier ban that we were talking about with the Buck ban coming in from Beast Coast is paying off for them now. TSM really enjoyed getting map control downstairs here, and with that Buck in play, they'd be able to get rid of so much utility down low, especially with Achieved being in the lineup as well for TSM. I mean, you just don't want that guy to have his favorite operator in his hands if they do choose to use that for that vertical play. So it's just paying off for them right now. But now for TSM, what's paying off is these early frags, because once again, they're just falling into TSM's lap. Rudy dead inside of Master Bathroom, and TSM with the leadoff pick once again. Possibly a second one here for Achieved if he's able to get it, but Bozo walks back into the angle and rips Achieved to shreds.
Great find from Fozo there. Evens us back out. Keeps the members of Beast Coast in this round where they have traditionally over the last couple here struggled with those early picks and going down to a deficit against the members of TSM. Merc specifically trying to move out very slow kitchen area, but you've got not only a one player sitting here, that's Fozo hiding out in tarps, but Ghost is nearby, has the capability to trade it, but instead is focused on a different player entirely, apparently. Bolo also tried to push his way into kitchen, I believe from the Astro Stairs side, and got cut off by Ghost. Anthony finding one here almost out of nowhere too from the inside of Trophy, shoots all the way across into the breach where we're just now seeing Chala pick up the diffuser again, pops the head off of another member of TSM, and puts the advantage back in Beast Coast court.
This is so scary for TSM right now. They really want to get some more rounds on the board before Beast Coast gets up onto match point. Chala gonna burn the laser gate here for bathroom. It's him and Merc stuck inside of this 2v4. Merc sells a frag grenade as well. It could come into play later on here. ADS burned now. That's gonna be Merc's frag coming through. Chala having to worry about multiple angles if he does go through astronomy. This is just not looking too solid for TSM just yet here. Beast Coast with some really strong crosses, and since those frag grenades were utilized earlier on, they're not going to be able to push through concrete. Instead, Chala pushes up into oh no, Nitro Cell out from Sippin, takes down Chala instead inside of Statuary. Merc still with one, tries to get the flick back, but Ghost with the advanced move moves up inside a bathroom, able to frag out the last remaining TSM member, and Beast Coast onto map point.
That's a last-second decision to crouch the shot, too. I think that actually saved his life right there in the 1v1 and made sure he got the final translation. Obviously, we can argue all day about the semantics on that one, but I thought it was pretty nice, and Beast Coast probably did as well, as it set them up at 6-3 against the current champions of the US division, potentially upsetting in their very, very first match here if they can pick up one more round. And we're going to go back to AVG, where they've already had success in winning this out.
Okay, well, Beast Coast, opportunity to take down the Goliath, as we heard about on the analyst desk. The David and Goliath story, well, it seems that David kind of spawned with like the Master Sword or something like that, because they're just slaying Goliath today. It's not, and they're making it look easy. That's the craziest thing about it. Like, there's some clutch opportunities that are coming through, but even in those moments, Beast Coast looks so very strong. The decision making's there. They're playing as a team. Like, there's nothing that you can really slight them about. You know, as for TSM right now, though, these offenses, they were able to find the initial one, but it seems as though Beast Coast is just able to keep up with them inside of the frag department right now here on Villa. And as long as they're able to stay equal, whether it be, you know, those 3v3 situations or anything like that, it really is on a knife's edge as to where this is going to fall, right? Who's going to get that first pick that's going to give someone a very, very poor circumstance? And for some reason, for some uncanny reason, it continues to be Beast Coast inside of these chances.
Yeah, Beast Coast definitely dressed to impress at a minimum here today with regards to their overall fragging potential as the individual 5 players on this team. But I think their overall strategy, too, really shines through. Obviously, like, some weird stuff here and there. And again, to be fair to them, some of it's working. But while some of those still need to be ironed out, overall, this is a really solid base for Beast Coast, regardless of the outcome of this match from this point forward. Definitely making their own mark here in the NAL. And I'm very excited to see more play from them in the weeks to come.
I mean, we even got some more weird stuff here, if you guys really want to get into it. I mean, we got both of the double walls busted inside of the bar area towards planes, and they put that deployable shield there with the soft breach next to Anthony so that you can actually see people's feet inside of study. If anyone crosses in there, you stand up from behind the shield and you shoot them through the soft wall. They just have so many angles set up around study. This is practically a kill box right now, and that's why you can see TSM ignoring it earlier on until they get the full scope of what's going on. There's just too many angles that aren't regularly utilized that Beast Coast are now using that TSM have to worry about.
All about half the round having gone by. This is probably our least eventful round as of yet here, as both teams probably a little scared of each other at this point in the game. Beast Coast want to make sure they play this carefully enough that they close it out on this round. In TSM, well, probably just straight scared of Beast Coast at this point here, trying not to overextend because they know how aggressive Beast Coast can play, and they don't want to be the first team to make a mistake here, especially with only a minute and 15 left. You do not want to go down 4v5 and have to try and figure out a way to battle out from that pit here with limited time remaining. Bozo continues to look for players at the bottom of main stairs, not going to find any, and he will need to shift his focus, possibly his position at a moment here too, but never mind. Teammates will deal with that hard breach attempt very quickly, getting it out, and Ghost now, I think right on the other side of the wall, is going to be ready to continue to deny that if they attempt to breach through, which TSM quickly running out of time to be able to do that here. Only one Selma left as well. They're running out of options here.
Oh, man, and that's just the issue for TSM is Options dwindling, health down, Bolo almost dead, and there's not a single chance for them to try and get a refrag just yet. Achieve still trying to work the 90 window, but for what? Beast Coast simply wait inside of sight for
Not looking
anyone
good.
attempting to make a push. This is looking like Beast Coast are taking Villa up against TSM with only 20 seconds remaining. There has to be a chance here for them. Someone has to make an opportunity here. Geo, the first one to try and push through. Toxic Babe is what he's met with, but multiple kills come through for Beast Coast. Finally, a frag comes through, but it's for Chala. Plant going down, that's not going to matter either. Rudy to seal the deal after Ghost takes down Geo planting, and Beast Coast shine through here on LAN.
Beast Coast with an amazingly impressive first showing here to start their season 2 off inside of the NAL. 7-3 against the current champions of the league. What an amazing start. What amazing play, especially on that attacking half and even the defender half as well. Lots of great innovation in so many different categories. Brilliant, brilliant stuff, truly, for Beast Coast. Can't talk about it enough here. What a way to start off the season for them. It's 7-3.
And you got to feel terrible for everybody at home that put all of those channel points down on TSM and just lost everything. I feel for you guys, but what an amazing game in between these two. I mean, TSM only able to muster